I'll be reading a over-dramatized version of DEADPLANTS.exe, a really bad Plants vs. Zombies creepypasta. Let's begin. Once I got bored on my computer, I decided to play a game that I haven't before. I heard a great reviews for Plants vs. Zombies, so I decided to check it out. I searched for a torrent, and I found one that seemed like the kind that I wanted to use. I could only get one seed for the torrent, so it took about a whole day to download. The next day after it finished, I opened it. It was in a folder named zplant rather than being named Plants vs. Zombies.exe or PVZ.exe. The application was called DEADPLANTS.exe. When I opened it, it seemed normal, except for a few minor differences, such how the music sounded a bit off key, higher than usual. When I clicked on the button for adventure mode, it never showed the animation of the hand rising from the ground, nor did it play the sound effect that goes with it. The call played at the beginning was replaced by a scream, which made me jump at first. Other than that, it seemed normal. The first level seemed rather hard than usual, even with only one lane to defend. The zombies ended up eating one of my pea shooters. The next stage seemed a bit difficult too. The zombies came a bit early, and one of them actually got 2 of my sunflowers. I wondered why someone would make a game so much more difficult like this. Despite the raised difficulty, I pushed on. Playing through the first few night stages, I noticed a few weird things. The sky was dark, stormy, rather than clear. The graves, rather having silly or comical inscriptions on them. It had names of celebrities that died recently, such as Amy Winehouse. I wondered if whoever hacked this version of the game put that up as a joke, because I didn't find it very funny. Whenever I used Gravebuster, a message popped up that said, "Why?" Was this game trying to teach kids a lesson? Later on in the game, the music seemed to be messed up. In the fog levels, the pitch of the music got higher with each level, until in the last level it was almost unbearable. Then, the first roof level, in the place of the music was a faint static. With each level, the static got louder and louder, until it was so loud that I had to turn off the music. Instead of the last level was Zombot. When I finished the last roof stage, it went to a black screen with the white text on it saying, "Why would you do this to us?" I wondered what that meant. After that, the game went to a level that looked like the lawn at the beginning, except half of it as large, and there was another lawn on the other side of the screen that was an exact mirror image of the lawn I was planting on in the beginning. It showed the zombies that I would encounter in the level. It was empty. I selected the following plants: sunflowers, pea shooters, repeaters, twin sunflowers, magnet shrooms, coffee beans, torchwood, and pumpkins. I still only had 8 slots. I turned the music back on from before, but it appeared that this level didn't have music anyway. The level played out normal at first, and I could only plant on the lawn on the left. I got a chance to plant 5 sunflowers before anything happened, and then on the other side a pea shooter appeared, except this pea shooter looked really creepy. Like in the places of eyes were dark, soulless voids, unlike most creepypastas I've read. The eyes didn't have red pupils in the middle or anything, just dark, soulless voids. It started firing peas at the sunflower that I had in that row, except the peas that it fired looked old and diseased. It ended up killing my sunflower like in Zombotany. Then after that, 2 sunflowers were planted in the lane above it, and then they had the same dark, soulless void for eyes. And it was that I realized that these plants that had been eaten by zombies Whenever one of the plants on the other side was planted, the screen grew a bit darker and less saturated. The plants' numbers were getting overwhelming. All of my plants were dying quickly. Then I could plant new ones, and I was barely able to kill any of the opposing plants. I knew this wouldn't go well. When the screen was about to twice as dark as it should be, the saturation had already been reduced to grayscale. After a point, the screen was almost too dark to see. At that point, my plants had been weakened. Just a few sunflowers and pumpkins. The screen was starting to blur itself, and then it stopped at the point when I could barely see what is even going on. Eventually, the scene deteriorated to the point where the whole screen was just black. At that point, I could hear crunching noises that played when the zombie makes it to your house. Instead of the normal shout that plays, the screen just turned white for about 7 seconds. Then the screen turned a vertically striped red and white, and I could hear a horrible, screaming noise that almost freaking popped my ears. Then the application just terminated, and I went to my desktop. A message popped up that said some random characters with no particular pattern to them, just leaving me started thinking, what the heck was that? Now, whenever I try to open the application back up, it just goes to a black screen, then a white screen, then a red and white stripes that played the same distorted scream, and then closes itself, leaving the same nonsensical error message. After that experience, I've never pirated another game. I'm angry that any sick idiot would make such a thing, because that screaming noise will forever be stuck inside my head. I hope that someday the plants in our neighbors will stop dying.